Everyone, I hope you're well. We've got pretty interesting stuff to talk about today in Raid Shadow Legends. The reward calendar has started, and along with it, two new champions that we'll be able to get our hands on. Now, one of those will be behind a fusion event, and I think the other will be behind the reward calendar. But here's the catch. Whilst you can come and claim back some of these rewards if you miss it, some of the best rewards you need to be on the day to claim it. So make sure you log in from now all the way up to March 5th every single day to claim these rewards. You don't want to miss out. They're going to be pretty good. We had this last time, and I believe we got Iodex Arta for free, who was a really good support champion. So if we click claim here right now, we'll get our first reward in Unbowed Might. Now, as each day goes on, we will be able to get more and more rewards until hopefully we get one of these two champions. Now, before we talk about these two champions, you can get all of these champions as you level up if you click the link in the description or scan the QR code above my head. Once again, you get all of these champions as you level up on a brand new account if you click the link in the description. There's never been a better time to play Raid. In fact, it's basically like playing Raid on easy mode if you use my link. Right, let's talk about these two new champs then. So here we are. Here are the two new champions coming in just a couple days. We've got Nodua the Gloaming and Solinar the Gleaming. And as you can imagine, these two champions are going to work together pretty well. You know, they're kind of like a pair. So let's take a look at the abilities here for Noldua the Gloaming. All right, let's just get a little closer look at these. Shade Strike has a 50% chance of placing an enfeeble debuff for 2 turns. If the target is a boss, places a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns instead. This debuff cannot be resisted if Solinar the Gleaming is on the same team. So you don't need to worry about building accuracy if you got both of them, which saves you a lot of time to deal with other parts of her kit. Pretty interesting. Umbral Purge has a 75% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies, and it cannot be resisted if Solinar the Gleaming is on the same team. Ooh, and that can be increased to 90%, which is pretty awesome. No, in fact, it's 100%. Yes, you can get it to 100% chance. It has a 75% chance of placing a 6% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, and it cannot be resisted. And if Solinar is on the same team, places a 50% increased attack on all allies for 2 turns. And then we've got Moon Bloom's Blessing. Revives all dead allies with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. If Solinar is on the team and isn't dead, revives them with 100% turn meter instead. A really good reviver then. Places a shield buff on all allies equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. So far, pretty powerful. And then we've got Scholar of Shadows. All turn meter fill effects used by enemies are 30% less effective. If Solinar is on the same team, fills this champion's turn meter by 30% of the enemy's turn meter fill effect. If there are multiple champions on the team with a skill, only one will activate. This skill will not activate on duplicate copies of this champion. If this particular champion is dead, only counts turn meter fill effects from skills. Okay. Interesting. I mean, very good, but you're going to basically need to get your hands on Solinar. Question is, will Solinar be a free champ from the upcoming free rewards, or will there be a different event for him? We don't really know yet. So we already know if you've got Solinar, the one we just looked at is going to be really strong. But what about Solinar himself? Let's take a look. Attacks all enemies. This attack is always critical if Noldua the Gloaming is on the same team. Has a 60% chance of placing a fatigue debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. So if you don't have to build critical rate, you can just go crazy with critical damage, which is pretty good. And has a passive effect. Has an 80% chance to counterattack with this skill whenever an enemy gets an extra turn or has an instant turn effect activated. Has a 15% chance to counterattack with the skill whenever an enemy has their turn meter increased. So a lot of counterattacks coming in, so extra damage, pretty good. And then we got Blazing Force. Attacks one enemy. This attack is always critical if Nodu is on the same team. Will ignore 10% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. This champion is immune to all debuffs while the skill is not on cooldown. Oh, whenever an enemy attempts to place a debuff on this champion while the skill is not on cooldown, the champion gains a random buff instead. Oh my goodness. So you just never use the skill and you just avoid all debuffs. That's pretty busted, honestly. Okay, unfettered radius attacks one enemy. Before attacking, steals all buffs and 100% turn meter from the target if they are not under a stone skin buff. This effect cannot be resisted. This attack is always critical if Noldor the Gloaming's on the same team, will ignore stone skin buffs. So wait, if they're with Noldor, then it ignores stone skin? Oh wow. This champion receives 75% less damage on enemy extra turns or instant turns while the skill is not on cooldown. While the skill is on cooldown, reduces the cooldown by 1 turn whenever an enemy receives an extra turn. So basically, doesn't really even matter about speed. This guy has a lot of stuff in his kit to deal with that problem. Pretty cool. And then we've got Scholar of Sun as the passive. Whenever an enemy receives healing, has a 100% chance to reduce the amount of healing received to 0. Has a 100% chance to reduce the healing to 0. This champion will receive that healing instead. If Noldor is on the same team, enemies will receive damage equal to the amount of healing instead. So he stops debuffs and he stops heals. He's like the anti-support champ. He sounds really, really good. Once per round, if this champion is dead, revives this champion with 100% HP and 100% turn meter when their last living ally is killed. Then places a magma shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the magma shield is equal to 300% of this champion's max HP. If Noldor the Gloaming is on the same team, the buff is protected. He sounds like he does everything. He sounds too overpowered, honestly. That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, that's a look at the new champions coming to Raid Shadow Legends, and they both look ridiculous. One of them will be a fusion champ, I believe Noldor, in just a couple days. And then the second part, Solana, who's probably the best one. I don't know. Maybe he'll be a free reward in the reward calendar. I mean, it seems to be tied to that. I hope so. That would be pretty amazing. If everyone could get him, oh my goodness. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you all in the comments. Cheerio.